us in this tournament.
Oh yeah, I think I know we're a country full of winners. We want to be able to show everybody here that we can also do that.
Don't know why you're apologizing. He's buzzing not having to answer any questions. Look at him sitting there smiling.
I mean, all three of them are pretty good at scoring goals, I would say.
We have to be ready to battle. It's not about just playing beautiful football.
Obviously, the stakes are higher. There's more to play for, but that doesn't change my mentality. You got to stay present in where you're at, and ultimately, that's what allows you to play your best.
Welcome to Los Angeles, California for this special episode of Football Americas. The wait is over. LA is the place to be today and this evening because finally the U.S. men's national team will open their 2026 FIFA World Cup right here at Los Angeles Stadium against Paraguay. We're expecting a gritty game. We're expecting a spicy game, and all of the fans expecting about 70,000 inside the stadium. Plenty celebrities, including Sesame Street's Cookie Monster, expected to be in attendance here. And of course, we were not about to miss out. Welcome to our set here right outside Los Angeles Stadium. I'm Alexis Nunes, and what a squad I have. Move over, Mauricio Pochettino, because I think I've got the real squad. 1990 World Cup winner and former U.S. men's national team coach himself, Jurgen Klinsmann, and then a trio of former U.S. men's national team players in Herculez Gomez, Jermaine Jones, and Casey Keller. They know exactly what this moment feels like, guys. Are we feeling it? Jurgen, are you feeling the magic in the air that the wait is over?
Absolutely. I mean, I feel good, and I hope that the players really kind of settle their nerves and enjoy every second of the game. And I'm convinced they give everything they have. That it will be a good game.
Herc, JJ, Casey, do you guys remember what it was like on the eve of your first World Cup game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is. It's the nerves, of course, are there. Because if you're not nervous, then you don't have a heartbeat. I mean, you got to know what this means to fulfill a life's ambition to play in a World Cup. And then it's how quickly you settle down once you get those nerves under control. And like Jurgen said, I really think the guys are ready for this. I know we've had a 4-year preseason, and we've all waited for this moment without qualifiers. So fingers crossed they come together.
JJ, a bit more comfortable experiencing it as more of a fan and a pundit than a player out on the pitch?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I go back and I put myself in the shoes, and I think it's that's the stage you want to play. So, and all of them excited now to be here, and now is the first game. And there's always a little bit of nervousness, and you're thinking like, okay, what can go wrong? But at the end, is like the best part is that you look at it and say, this is what I dreamed about. And some people maybe have that dream now the second time. And I think it's just ready to go. And you, as a player, you wait that the ref gives the whistle, and you can go out there and do your thing.
You know, there are a lot of players on this U.S. men's national team that are maybe household names to the fanatic that watches the sport. The U.S. men's national team diehard. But within their own country, they are not household names. And I'm sure there are the guys on this table who could attest. There's a 94 class that became famous in pop culture within the United States because of the World Cup in 1994. The level of attention it could bring to you, notoriety. These players today have an opportunity to do just that, but at a grander scale, and to take the sport where it once thought we could go to a whole nother level. So whether they're nervous or there's jitters or they're just happy to be here, today's a massive opportunity.
Well, the USA's head coach Mauricio Pochettino hails from a country, Argentina, that knows a thing or two about winning World Cups. He talked about wanting to change the culture here. Let's hear what he had to say ahead of this big opener against Paraguay.
The player after is tomorrow need to go on the field and feel in a bubble that they need to perform. And for perform is to respect some rules, but also the most important is not to be disconnected with your emotional relationship with the game. And we were talking about that, about that they need to think tomorrow in play like they are a child, no? With not, pressure, with not responsibility. Is to play, doing what they need to do and what they know to do.
This is the moment that you've been building towards for a year and a half. And for these players, this is the moment that they've been building for their entire lives. When you speak to them tonight, tomorrow, how do you coach that?
I already spoke. I already talked.
Do you build
too
them
much
up?
and too much? I said, don't expect an unbelievable speech Friday.
Mauricio Pochettino there saying he's already done his talking, Jurgen, something similar that you said yesterday. He said by now the players already know what they need to do.
Absolutely. You got to leave them alone on game day because of that nervousness. Because of everybody's is full of thoughts and everybody wants to do well and thinks about 1,000 things. The family is coming and everybody's watching it on TV. This huge opportunity. So as a coach, you got to leave them alone. You got to let them kind of be with themselves, get ready. Everyone differently in a way. Some listen to music, some do certain warm-ups differently to others. Just let them be themselves and then be ready.
Herc, is that what you want to hear from your gaffer right before the World Cup? That he's done his talking?
Is it 5 World Cups for you? 3 as a player, 2 as a manager?
Yep.
Yeah, I think Jurgen knows what he's doing here. Listen, because he's right. I mean, at this point, if you think you can add something of value, you've not done your job. You can't micromanage. You have to trust the footballer, trust the player, and let them go out there. And as Kay said, for these players, it's a lifelong ambition to be at the World Cup, a dream to be here. Now let them express themselves, enjoy themselves. I like what Pochettino said. He spoke about the responsibility of the connection and staying true to their game. So if that's true, you've already done your job. So I like the message.
I mean, we always say that the buck stops at the manager and the head coach, Casey, but now Pochettino is basically saying, well, he's kind of at least done his job to this point. It's time for the players to go out there and do what they need to get done.
Well, the manager, as much as they would like, they can't jump on the pitch and influence the game. So they have to rely on that they prepared the team properly. They picked the right team for the environment. And when adjustments need to be made, they recognize that and make the proper adjustments. Yes, of course, the manager is going to get the applause and they're going to get the boos as well if it doesn't go their way. But at this stage, if you haven't prepared them by now, it's not going to happen on the bus ride here. So, yeah, agreed. Everybody has their own way of preparing for a match. And I think that's the modern way that the coaches have. They say, okay, guys, you should know by this stage of your career how to get ready to play in big matches.
Well, the next topic is definitely for Jermaine because he talked about how he wanted to see the USA with a bit more bite, a bit more of that warrior mentality. And could Paraguay be the perfect opponent today to see a bit of that? This is a look at the USA versus Paraguay history. And if we're talking about spicy, well, we don't have to look too far to the last time that these two played in what was supposed to be a friendly, so to speak, but tempers flared, hands were thrown, things got physical. Jermaine, we do want to see this to a certain extent, but how do you find that right balance? Because we know that Jermaine was a player on the pitch that didn't take any silliness from anyone.
Yeah, but I think it's a whole complete different thing. That's a friendly game, and okay, I completely accept it, and I say that's okay. It shows off. But in a World Cup, in a stage like this, you have to be careful.
You don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that because I think we have more quality than Paraguay, with all the respect to Paraguay. And I think that is a way of can be frustrated. You be frustrated and you come in, that situations like that happen. But I think if we today play our football, concentrate on our game, in work as a team, I think we will have here a good game and we win this game. So, of course, it's not like that let's say it this way, and I think Hercules said it, we will not be able to go with them into that fight mode and play that game.
If they bring you down to that level, you don't want that.
If they get you to that stage where they want you, then you will have that typical game and that situation can happen. But if you stay clear in your head and you stay clear what Pochettino said to your game and to keep it disciplined, I think you will win this game.
I think Paraguay recognized exactly what Jermaine said, is that the U.S. has probably a more talented player pool, 11 for 11. But if they can push some buttons and get somebody set off and get somebody to lose discipline at the wrong time and give themselves a man advantage for an amount of time, that's what Paraguay is going to look to do.
Perk, you're obviously looking at trying to find that perfect balance with that grit, with that warrior-like behavior, someone who kind of imposes and enforces themselves on the opposition, but also with the emotional intelligence that you were talking about yesterday. Who on this U.S. men's national team roster even, or at least in the predicted 11 from you, has that?
There are two. And the first one I know is going to be on the field, and that is Tyler Adams. He's the heartbeat of this team. He's the emotional, the physical leader. He is aggressive in all aspects of the game, especially in how he goes about it to the opponent. But the other one is Chris Richards, and we don't know the ability of Chris Richards physically today. He says he's good. He also said, hey, they've not said if I'm starting. Chris Richards is a player that, throughout the process of Mauricio Pochettino, has been really the guy to get everybody else physically going. We cannot back down. When Australia was kicking Christian Pulisic, he was the guy in everybody's face. We need to defend our teammates. They have two emotional leaders with physical attributes on this team. Those are the guys the U.S. needs to look for.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big day for Tyler Adams and Chris Richards in what is expected to be a pretty gritty battle. But let's talk about someone who we can say has been aging maybe like fine wine, because best believe it, at 38 years old, Tim Ream is the captain of this U.S. men's national team, and he will be the oldest to play for the United States at a World Cup. If you have a look at the USA stats with Tim Ream and without Tim Ream, well, I just want to say that they happen to have lost double the amount of games with him than without him. Jurgen, what are your thoughts on this? Are you a bit surprised that they're relying on Tim Ream so heavily at his age?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm a Tim Ream fan.
Hey.
Because he's a, I mean, with his experience and with his way guiding the players in front of him, next to him, he's of very, very high value for the team. Now, obviously, you got to cover his bad sides. You know, that's speed. You know, when you play with Tim, then there needs to be an extra attention on players going at him. You know, that the other center back has to be right behind him, or the fullback has to tuck in. It's a different game then. And obviously, the discussion is from a coaching perspective. If you play Tim, is it better you play a back three, you know, which turns into a back five? You know, obviously to use all his experience and all these positive attributes and cover up a little bit the speed issue, or you stick to the back four, you play it your way with the risk that hopefully, you know, there's no Mbappe coming with 200 miles an hour and goes at him. So there are the pro and cons, but I admire Tim because he's an absolute top professional. And this tournament has unbelievable players that are a little bit aged. You know, we're talking about Messi, we're talking about Ronaldo, we're talking about Neymar, we're talking about Tim Ream. You know, you have Manuel Neuer. Yeah. You have players between 35 and 40. They are still top-notch. And Tim will prove his point.
Casey, do you agree with the big man, Jurgen?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think the best coaches realize what their best players are, their best formations, and then put those players in positions to succeed. If you're asking Tim Ream to play a line at midfield and cover a huge amount of space, you're not getting the best out of Tim Ream. But if you set the team up, like Jurgen said, to understand not just Tim's frailties, but all the players' frailties. Everybody has their strengths, everybody has their weaknesses. And the key is to set up a team that best emphasizes the strengths and covers for the weaknesses.
Well, JJ, if you look at it as well from both perspectives, we understand the leadership and the experience that Tim Ream brings. But of course, in terms of the physicality, and as Jurgen pointed out, if you have a Kylian Mbappe running down or even an Erling Haaland, then could that be viewed as a weakness as well?
Yes, of course. But I think as a Pochettino, he was sitting down before that and analyzed the other team, right? And I think today they're going in with the mindset that maybe we will have more the ball. And Tim Ream's strength is playing out from the back, in playing risk balls into midfield, maybe because he knows today that will be not the case, that he gets pushed into his weaknesses. So in maybe another game, maybe he makes another decision. So, and I think he's the captain of the team, and I think it's a signal too. He has experience. I think he showed that over the games, over the years, and I think it's a good call. You know, at the end we will all know better after the game if it was a good call or not. But I think right now I agree with that decision to play him, because like his strength is just with the ball.
Here's a few realities. If you play with Tim Ream, you've got to cover those physical disabilities that he has, deficiencies, which is why this team goes from a back three, line of five in the build-out to four, and that right back will tuck in to protect Tim Ring, because with the ball he can offer very much going forward. Another reality, he's the oldest player to ever play in a World Cup for the U.S. men's national team. When you've had a plethora of quality goalkeepers, why is it that the goalkeeper has never played at this stage? I'll tell you why. Because there are constantly better goalkeepers pushing legends out. The reality is, Chris Richards is the only confident center back. You haven't had those center backs coming through the pipeline to push Tim Ream out.
Right, well, we're waiting for the USA's moment to shine at this FIFA World Cup, but Canada